speaking of different, I mean, we get X-Men. I mean, we get several X-Men books over and over again.
Huh.
But like one of the, I mean, I know one of the series that you loved at the beginning was Uncanny, which was it started off well, and now it started to peter off into kind of.
I don't even know how to talk about Uncanny anymore. Like,
Well, shall I start you off?
oh Jesus, it was so like it was fresh, and you're like, yeah, we're gonna get these new X-Men and their leaders, Cyclops, and all this cool stuff, and Magneto, and look what they're gonna teach these kids to be just like them. You know, a new generation of kind of these twisted mutant, like genocide almost people, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm all up for this. And then we're like 20 issues in, and I still don't know any of their names besides the Mexican dude Hijack, only because he's Mexican and his power is to hijack cars. And I'm like, that is just so bad. Like, I don't know any other member. The comic is literally just tossing people out. The art, oh my God, I don't even want to talk about the art.
And that changes week by week.
Yeah, it hurts my eyes. The consistency of the storytelling, in every issue, whenever there's a problem in this comic, and this is my real problem. Oh my God, we're in trouble. What's going to happen? Magic swoops in, warps them all out of the problem. It's happened three times in like 20 issues now, and I'm just like, I'm done with this. Like, I can't take another issue of this unless it gets good, or they kill Magic off or something. I don't know, but
don't kill Magic off. I like Magic, but put her in another book. Like,
shove her away, or maybe nerf that power. Like,
like, take her back to basics. Like put her in I mean, obviously Colossus is coming back, but one thing that could have been good was the fact that if she basically went to kind of reconcile her relationship with him without using any of her powers, and then that kind of would increase the character better rather than just saying, well, we're in trouble, poof, Magic is here, we're all safe again.
Right.
I really don't know who these characters are. I mean, there's the Australian girl who can create time bubbles, and then there's the guy who can create balls of gold, and then there's obviously the Hijack. But apart from that, I mean, there's loads of other characters in the story, but I don't know any of these people. I don't care about any of these people.
Yeah, that's where I'm coming from. And subsequently on the X-Men side, go read All New X-Men.
Yeah, I mean,
which
from
is
bad to good.
And All New X-Men isn't even their main series. You know, that's like their, here's this. And I mean, besides the Guardians of the Galaxy crossover, which clearly they're only doing because both have a movie this year.
Yeah.
You know, outside of that, every other issue has been fun, good, actually gets things done. And, you know, it's just been enjoyable. Like, it's just seeing what these X-Men are doing. I'm like, well, this is good. So what's happening over here?
I mean, I read Guardians as well. I mean, because I've read them since, I think since, like, the Realm of Kings saga, which was a while ago at best. And then reading this new saga, and I mean, they're bringing Angela in, which I've liked in places. I mean, the relationship we have with Gamora is, like, funny, and, like, she has banter with them, and, like, it's like one of those characters that you think they brought in just because they had her, but they weren't sure of what to do with her, and she's kind of suffered through that. But like one of the things that the series of like the trilogy and Grey kind of highlighted was that they have the characters, they have the potential for the good stories. It's just when you put two quite large teams together, you're gonna get a mess, regardless of how well the writing is.
Oh, I think that's what you run a lot of, you know, troubles into, especially if you rush it, which this clearly seems like they kind of rushed it out the door just to coincide with stuff. And, we got to get the Phoenix out there and all that, which I know, whatever. I'm not a Phoenix, whatever that story, but, you know, I'm excited. It's at least good. It's not terrible, which is, it could be worse. So I guess that's my thing. It's like, it could be worse.
Moving away from the comic world, let's talk about films, like the superhero genre of films, because obviously that's exploded within this contemporary age. I mean, we get hundreds of million dollars in profit for these movies that generally are just about fictional characters that initially people wouldn't have given two hoots about if you said in the 90s saying, here's an Iron Man movie, it's a man made of iron, would you go and see him? Probably not. But then you get something so experimental like Guardians, which is coming out this year, or Guardians of the Galaxy for those who are not sure. So why is it that some people are still so worried about it? I mean, you see the millions of views that it's got on the trailer on YouTube, and you see loads of people speaking about it on Twitter when it first came out. So why is it that people are still worried about it? Is it because it's the space universe of the heroes?
I'm honestly going to say this as a huge Green Lantern fan,
Yeah.
and you can imagine how bad that movie hurt me.
I mean, I've seen that movie.
Um, I think that's the aspect.
Mm,
The last space movie we had for comic books was Green Lantern.
mm,
That is not something to be proud of or even put on any pedestal or try to talk about.
nope.
And now you're seeing an even crazier ensemble,
Mm,
with I try to constantly picture the trailer in my head for Guardians of the Galaxy. It's
yeah.
like a raccoon played by Bradley Cooper, Glenn Close, Batista the wrestler. Like it's so out there that people are going to be intrigued, but are they going to get interested
Yeah.
into the aspect, especially since last time they had something that was promised to be the Star Wars of comic book movies, it completely flopped and literally failed to even make 50% of its budget back,
I mean, it spent
which
most of its time on Earth. If
right. And I understand that Marvel is pretty much right now unstoppable in the
mm,
movies. I mean, they're doing Ant-Man for the love of God. Well, if
I
you would
mean,
have told
good,
me
good.
Ant-Man is going to happen 10 years ago, I would have been like, wait, Ant-Man, the guy from that one cartoon, like that thing, like I can't believe it. So it's such a different world. I think Guardians is going to be a success,
Yeah.
but I don't know how the everyday person feels. And speaking like when we opened the show, I said I just saw the Winter Soldier. The trailer right before it was Guardians of the Galaxy,
Yeah.
and I saw it at the premiere. And there was a bunch of people around me. They were at the premiere of Captain America. They were laughing and going, "What the f is this?" So they didn't even know what this was.
Mm,
So I'm kind of in this area like it's going to make good money, but it's
yeah.
not going to make great money. Which honestly, Marvel doesn't need to make great money on it because God knows Avengers 2 is going to literally print buckets of money.
Oh, good
So,
God, how much money that movie's gonna make.
oh,
It's
crazy.
scary to think about that, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's scary. I mean, you see how. I mean, Avengers is third highest grossing film of all time, behind Avatar and Titanic, which is. And then you get. And then obviously Avengers 2. Who knows? I mean, you got more characters, more potential, or a more bigger audience as
And
well.
I'm glad you brought that up because it's like I know people that saw Avengers that didn't see any of the other movies leading up to it.
Yeah.
I know my family members did the same thing. Like they heard the hype, and Disney put a good amount of marketing budget into Avengers. I
Mm.
assume when Avengers 2 comes out, the marketing is going to be so huge. You're literally like you're gonna wake up and your eyelids are gonna have Avengers tattooed on. Like,
I'm just gonna see Ultron's head in my face every single day.
I honestly think it's going to be Avengers 3 or 2 is going to just change how we look
Mm.
at comic book movies from now on. Like it's going to be the ultimate juggernaut to look
Yeah.
for.
Honestly, you can say from Iron Man 3, you can tell that they're getting a bit more serious in the movies. Like, they're not going for as many laughs as possible, but like they are going to say, look, these are serious issues. I mean, Iron Man 3, it dealt with like Tony having like panic attacks, like saying what he'd seen in
Right.
the wormhole, and then you get Thor, like he's dealing with Loki what he did, and then what happens in the movie to him. He's having to deal with all this while
Uh-huh.
trying to save everyone else. And then obviously Captain America. I just literally got to see again.
Winter
How much
Soldier
good
just
stuff? Yeah, how much good stuff in that as well.
that movie literally blows my mind as to
Mm,
I mean, a lot of people, had issues with the one scene from the Avengers. Oh, why would that council and Shield order to nuke New York with all the heroes there? And
yeah,
when you watch The Winter Soldier, it's explained to you. And
so perfectly
right,
explained
and what's
as well.
even better is that they had that in place years ago, and you go back and think about that now, you're like, oh my God, it actually makes sense. The hint is there. I just never put it together. Like, I, I can't believe what Marvel has done, and I mean, hats off to Marvel for what they've done. Because look at what everybody's doing. Spider-Man is trying to copy them. Fox is trying to copy them.
Yeah.
DC is desperately trying to copy them.
Oh, they're clawing at every kind of coat and tail to try and copy
Right, I
them.
mean, Universal is even trying to copy them with the new Mummy universe. Because the Mummy, the Frankenstein, and the Dracula reboots are all going to lead up to a mashup of those people teaming up.
But that's the funny thing, though. Didn't they initially try that when Van Helsing was released
Right,
back in
right.
2003 or something like
Yeah,
that?
and they kind of went nowhere with it because one of the movies was kind of like, So it's like, but don't hold back. If imagine if Marvel would have held back after Iron Man 2 was critically panned for being
Oh my
just
god.
terrible, I mean, I don't like Iron Man 2. Yeah, I mean, I don't like Wolverine Origins either, but I still watch them.
I've seen pretty much every. I mean, regardless of like Marvel Studios, I've seen Fox's and others every Marvel film they've made, and honestly, Marvel and Disney are much stronger than any of the other competition. But then you get like them trying to say, right, we can sense that they want team up movies, so we say, right, so we want let's just throw some ideas at Sony. So we said, okay, Spider-Man 3 didn't really work for different reasons, and then we get The Amazing Spider-Man, which I must say, I know people love it, and I know people like it. I honestly didn't like it.
Oh, see, man, when my fans hear this interview, when they get this far, you're gonna have some keyboard warriors on your side.
I know.
I'm saying this as a guy who, out of the whole CBC, as crazy as it is, and as much as I hate on that movie, I still like it the most out of 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I watched it again recently. I just thought, I just don't like the character that they portray. I love Spider-Man's one of my favorite heroes. I grew up with him. Don't hate me for that. But the movie, I just didn't get that feeling from him. Like,
Same here.
Didn't get that feeling from the film. And then I sat in the theater today when Amazing Spider-Man 2's trailer came on. I groaned. I think I actually groaned. I went, I just seen X-Men. I'm like saying, okay, I will give X-Men a chance. I will give X-Men a chance just because I've watched all the other ones. I will go and watch it. And then a movie that I didn't generally like the first time, having a sequel it's copying the same formula that they tried in the old ones. They're saying,
right. And
let's get everyone together. Let's team up with villains. I'm saying, no, small is better. Like, you could have had Electro, with a very good actor in Jamie Foxx. You could have crafted an entire movie around him, but you don't have to, because then you say, right, get Rhino in there, get Green Goblin in there. Yeah, we're fine. Just throw it all in there, and they'll love it.
And you know what you're saying there is tonally. I didn't. Oh, yeah, The Amazing Spider-Man 1, right? It was clearly a way to appeal to the Dark Knight crowd, whether you like it or not. The movie was darker. They were like, well, we're in a more realistic world, but yeah, we have this lizard guy, but look, the world is so dark, and there's all this, and there's crime everywhere, right? It wasn't it wasn't as family friendly as the Raimi stuff, right?
No.
So I was like, you know what? If they're going out of their way to make it this different, I can get on board. It's going to be different than Raimi's. Yeah. Amazing Spider-Man 2, I'm like, so now you're back to Raimi, completely contradicting what you're trying to tell me in the first movie. Yeah. And not only that, it's like, I just kind of look at the movie and, I'm a huge Spider-Man fanatic, but it just doesn't grip me anymore. Like, I don't know what's missing.
Like it's a movie that I want to watch.
Right.
I mean, I generally, I said to my friend today, I said, I will go and watch X-Men, regardless of whatever they butcher the characters. I'll go and watch it because I've grown up with the X-Men.
Same here.
And then they said, well, what about Spider-Man? I said, no, I'm not going to go and watch it because I didn't like the first one, although I love the character to pieces. This movie does not appeal to me at all. The one thing I want to say is, obviously, Captain America 2 has been out for, let's say, a week, in 2 weeks in the UK, and it's just come out for you in America. Already, it's made so much money, and then obviously you say the directors, they've never directed this kind of film before, but they've done it so well. It's like, it's ridiculous how good it is. I mean, it has so many emotional moments. I mean, the scene where, I heard some people crying behind me when they saw that Nick Fury had died.
Uh-huh.
And then when you get the scene between Haley Atwell's character of Peggy Carter
my God,
and Captain America, that was one of those scenes I was like, my God, this is one of the best. It's a fantastic scene.
And I mean, to me, my favorite Marvel movie is the first Avenger.
Yeah.
Because I love Captain America. My favorite overall ever comic book movie is First Class, which confused a lot of people, because my whole Fox thing. But, yeah. I mean, I teared up the first time. Actually, a lot of times when I still watch the first Avenger, I get tears in my eyes when I see that last scene, between them, because he never got that dance. And when I saw this, and then she has that moment of like confusion and she forgets everything that just happened.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, like they hit my heart so hard because he finally got to talk to her, and nope,
I mean,
she forgets it.
Yeah, you
Ugh.
see the Captain America exhibition. She's like saying, "Well, Captain America saved what would be my future husband," and you see that kind of, and then you get, and then he has the he still wants to go and see her to be like reconnect with her, and then you get that like obviously that one moment it like hammers a nail into your heart, and you're like, oh no,
Yeah.
like that one, like the fairy tale. I mean, it's fair to say, Phase 1 of the Marvel movies were happy, fun, action packed, and they were for the whole crowd.
Right.
Like everyone could get behind them. Phase 2, a bit darker, a bit more serious, a bit more of a serious tone, but they still want to invite the fun. But they want to show like they want to hit these emotional moments towards
Right.
you. I mean, Thor: The Dark World, when Loki sacrificed himself for Thor. I mean, I heard people crying, generally crying, because they thought that was it. They thought actually Loki had been killed.
Oh,
I mean,
same here. Like my theater was loaded with people gasping, going, "No, no, no!" Confusion
Yeah.
everywhere. I was like, "Oh man."
I mean, Robert Redford. I didn't think he'd have a bigger part as he does, but he had some funny lines in some parts, and then he had some really serious moments which I really liked as well.
Yeah. Oh,
I think what is it that you think that Captain America has done so well that people kind of obviously people say yes, the first one's more of a period piece, but what do you think people kind of that people regretting that decision, like saying, "Oh, Captain America, it's just the same old," like if they've never even seen the trailer for it?
right, right. It's hey, people gotta. I think they're doing a good enough job as trying to sell it as it's different, guys. It's darker, and like you said, if you see the Thor: The Dark World, and to me, I know a lot of people hate Iron Man 3 because
I like it, but it wasn't as good as it could have been. That's my opinion on it.
I fall on the side of I love that movie to death, and mainly because, and a lot of people's problems seem to come from the Mandarin, which
I loved that character. I
Right.
love that character.
a lot of people come from, well, he's not Chinese, and I'm like, but the Mandarin in the comics has never done anything important, and we see with the Winter Soldier that the bad person in the movie is the government. They've been corrupt, and it's going on speaking about our world today. Iron Man 3 did the same thing with the Mandarin. I mean, think about this. Killian is a suit who makes stuff for the government. He uses a puppet who is Middle Eastern to scare everybody. And while they're hunting him down, the suit walks around free, bending the country to his will. I mean, that's what happens in the real world. And I think the Mandarin was adapted perfectly. And I mean, I love that aspect of the movie. The movie did have a few too many jokes, I will say. But
yeah, I mean, Thor had that kind of a bit of a problem as well. It was. I love it. It's one of my favorites. It was a little bit too heavy on the jokes, but it was still enjoyable. And obviously, you get that one shot of the "All Hail the King," and it worked. I mean, it almost kind of shames the people who kind of said, "Yeah, I love this version of the Mandarin. I hate the character like from the comics." And what did you think of "All Hail the King"? Can I ask?
I loved it. I mean, I love it for the part. A lot of people are saying, well, it retcons that terrible movie. I'm like, no, it's making fun of the people that hate that movie. It's actually going up to your face and saying, oh, you don't understand it, do you? And I'm so proud that they did that. They didn't go back on it. And I love the moment in it where, it's Slattery's standing there. He's like, oh, the fanboys.
The fanboys.
Oh my god, that hits home so hard. Like I laughed out loud when I saw that. Like
Ben Kingsley is just brilliant in that.
Yeah, I mean, I love that one shot. I love all the one shots, so I can't wait to see more.
Getting on from what we all love in the Marvel universe, we're getting onto the area of the murky Marvel universe which is of course the Days of Future Past.
Oh.
Now I know you don't want to, but I've got to ask you this first question. What are your hopes for the film, but what are you also disappointed that they're going to do as well?
Okay, now, a lot of people don't get this. I have a thing against Bryan Singer. Now, that's not necessarily saying I hate the dude, because he's in my top 5 favorite directors.
Yeah.
I love a lot of his films. X-Men 1 and 2 are probably like comic book masterpieces for when they were released and what they did for the genre. There's... he famously left to do Superman Returns. So X-Men 3 had to be butchered. And, I mean, they brought on Matthew Vaughn, for X-Men 3, who I love Matthew Vaughn's work. I mean, it clearly shows when I talk about First Class how much I love that movie.
Yeah.
And he came back and actually did fully himself. He did First Class. And that movie hits the time period perfect. It gives the characters we want to see. I mean, everybody loves Wolverine, but there's Wolverine overload. Like, you know, I like Wolverine. I'm fine with him, but all my friends, they hate First Class because it doesn't have Wolverine. And I'm like, guys, there's more to X-Men than Wolverine. And I think First Class showed us that. But Bryan Singer comes back. They get rid of Matthew Vaughn, who already had a 3, movie picture sign up, and he wasn't going to do First Class, which you can go read or he wasn't going to do Days of Future Past. You can read it in interviews with him, with how he saw the script and said it was a disaster.
Yeah.
And, he said, I didn't want to do it, so they brought Singer back. My problem is, once again, we're going back to Bryan Singer is doing the Singer thing. Well, I don't like the blue and yellow suits, so go back to black. Well, that looks like a comic book. Let's make it not look like a comic book. He's afraid to embrace what Matthew Vaughn and Joss Whedon have embraced, which is the comic aspect. And it just doesn't feel like an X-Men movie to me. I mean, beat for beat, the new Days of Future Past trailer is Terminator 2. Robots in the future have taken over. We need a savior. John Connor, Wolverine. Go, send this guy back. He's in the past. He has to stop the future. He has to stop Miles Dyson, aka he has to stop Trask. It's beat for beat that same thing. So I'm like, oh, come on, guys,
The one thing that I've got hopes for it, but I've also got some massive disaspirations for it. I mean, it's well known that you don't like the way Quicksilver looks in the new film. Again, I don't like that look as well. I mean, and especially how they're going to explain how he's older than Scarlet Witch. I mean, what Wanda. I mean, God knows. I mean, thank God Marvel are actually doing something with those characters well.
Yeah.
But the one hope that I have for the film is that they don't butcher all the characters in one fell swoop. Like, they don't say, right, here's this one battle scene. Yeah, all these side characters, yeah, they're gonna die. They're just gonna die. Yeah, it's Colossus. You look all those fans, Colossus. Yeah, dead.
Actually, speaking on that note, have you seen the first 10 minutes because they screened it at CinemaCon?
I read on Newsarama. They said they wrote it out what happened. They gave like a transcript of what is on the screen.
Yep, because someone I know that went to that, personally wrote me what happens, and I literally just sighed and said, I don't know anymore. And people think I'm not like a giant X-Men guy. I mean, I cosplay Magneto. Yeah. I spent hundreds, actually thousands of dollars at this point getting Magneto memorabilia. That's my character, so I love it, but I don't like to see Wolverine just at the forefront of anything. And when it comes to Days of Future Past, they're once again, Kitty should be a huge character in that.
Exactly.
She's going to have I think it was reported she's going to have something like 4 minutes total. And I mean, that includes her in the background scenes too.
Boo.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I love Kitty. Why?
She's the central focus of the original story. I mean, that's the thing that they don't understand.
Right, that's what you're saying. To me, I mean, how big was Days of Future Past in the comics? A few issues?
Yeah,
it wasn't big. They're making it sound like this was a thing that ran for a decade and everybody was talking about it.
This was the defining moment of the X-Men saga.
Right, and I'm like, guys, this was 2 issues.
Yeah.
It wasn't the biggest thing. I mean, don't get me wrong. When that movie comes out, I'm going to see it. Mm-hmm. I'm going to start the line. Yeah. There's no question about that. I'm just not very excited about it. Now, it's because Matthew Vaughn gave me what I always wanted. Here's Magneto doing Magneto things, killing people.
But that's also due to the fantastic, a lot of British actors in that film. I mean, you get Michael Fassbender, fast rising actor who did a load of quite a bit of independent work before he did that, and then you get James McAvoy who'd already proved himself. But then you get these 2 great British actors doing what Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen did as well. Mm-hmm. But then and then literally just today, you get the new posters for the film, and he says you've got Patrick Stewart and James McAvoy on one poster. It says Hugh Jackman on the top, and then you get the one Hugh Jackman poster. He's with Mystique, and then you got Magneto's Hugh Jackman on the top.
Yeah,
it's like you said. I want to see this movie. I will go and see it. It's just a film. Like the first trailer that they released, I was like, the only part they actually care about this movie are the last 5 seconds between James McAvoy and Patrick Stewart. I mean, that said something at least. I said, yeah, the only thing that kind of gets my hairs on edge is to seeing these two characters meet for the first time. Kind of my final kind of rounding up point. Within the comic book world, people continuously they dip and duck out of new series. Like some series get cancelled, some characters get changed. Obviously, new stuff gets unrecognized. So, what would you recommend? Like the 3 top books that you would recommend people to go out and start reading now? Like, what is the series that you think people need to catch up on or start reading?
Okay, right now, if people are listening, don't know what number 1 is. That's Aquaman. You got to go get that, people. It's really good. I think the best part of me starting CBC and exploding to being so popular, which I'm so grateful for, is every other week someone sends me an inbox message personally or on Facebook or in the comments or tweets a picture at me with a lineup of Aquaman comics saying, "Hey, Armin, listen to you for about a year. All you do is talk about Aquaman." So I picked up 1 issue, and then I picked up the other 27. This is amazing. I'm like, my job right now is better than any amount of money I've made on YouTube because someone else appreciates a good comic. And on that same length, I would say the new Magneto run. Yeah. Because it's really good and it's really important. And the other, I would say, go read the Garth Ennis Punisher run. I'm a huge Punisher fan. Punisher is a hard character to understand. But when you read that, you will get an appreciation for why the Punisher is a character that's way more than just murder, murder, murder. I mean, yeah, he's murder, 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 but there's more to the character than what is at face value, which I think that run perfectly dove into, and really deals with his emotions and everything and what he goes through. And of course, there's a bunch of other ones I would say, just if you have time, read the spin-offs like, Red Sun, Kingdom Come, all that. Go read all those from DC because they're all great. Batman Earth 1, freaking Earth 2. Go read all of Earth 2 that's currently going on because it's a great side story to the normal DC. I mean, read the comics that aren't popular. That's my thing.
Black Widow, it's just started, but it's incredibly good. I mean, that was the one I said to Joe. I said, initially, I thought that it was going to be playing off the cinematic universe, but it doesn't. It's a fantastic little series that is underrated, I would say. And then another series that's just started, Miss Marvel, obviously, because it's got so much critical acclaim as well, and it's only in its 2nd issue. It just goes to show, if you give stuff a chance, it can pay off big time, because regardless of whether it's very popular or underpopular, it can show that it's well appreciated and that your work does not go undone. That's the kind of final message I'd kind of say.
Yeah, I would completely agree. Go out of your way and read stuff that you've maybe heard things about that you haven't picked up. I think that's the best thing. Like every week I'll go pick up, Matt for our site. He reviews a lot of off comics. And since he reviews them, I have to read them to edit them because I do all the editing. And every week I'm like, oh my God, this is good. Add it to my list. Oh my God, it's good. I'm like, I'm spending more money now than I ever have. And I'm like, oh, well, whatever. I'm supporting smaller comics. So
exactly. I mean, it's not just from Marvel and DC. I mean, Dark Horse and Image, they're still. I mean, they're not as popular, but they're still churning out some good stuff.
Yeah, God, so many good things. Just go read good comics, people. Don't just pick up Batman, okay?
Yeah,
there's a lot of better stuff.
Yeah, I mean, well, I've got to say, thank you so much for coming to chat on the show today. It means an awful lot to me, and I'm sure a lot of people enjoy listening to this because we've had a few laughs on the entire an hour and a half that we've spoken together.
I'll make sure that the people that hear this make it this far and go, that Armin.
That Armin.